Okay. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa kafa wa salamun ala ibadi allazina istafa. Amma ba'd. Right. So let's just wait a little bit. Okay. So I posted the questions that we'll be addressing. So the questions today: do I need to inform the person the money given to them is zakat? First question. Number two, is there a limit on how much zakat should be given to a person? Can we swim and make wudu in lakes where non-Muslims swim? If a person has a necklace with Ayatul Kursi, do they need wudu to wear it? And does it matter if there is skin contact or not? Can a Muslim inherit from a non-Muslim and vice versa? What if a masjid's qibla is off by a few degrees? Does the prayer count? And finally, is it permissible for masjids to make a profit from janaza services? And actually, there's one more question. Mufti said, is it permissible for a musafir to travel on the day of Jumu'ah? Okay, so let's start. So do I need to inform the person the masjid given to them is zakat or not? Right. So first things first, a person is obligated to give zakat when he's in possession of the nisab amount. I believe I've mentioned this a few times now. So what is the nisab amount? The nisab amount is anything that is 87 grams in gold or 612 grams of silver, okay? Or its equivalent in cash. This is the nisab of gold. And you can take the higher of the two nisabs. So the higher of the two nisabs would be gold, right? So nowadays, the gold nisab, when you convert it from gold to cash, it's about $4,000. That's how much it is. Silver is a little bit less, probably about $300. In the day of the Prophet ﷺ, this was equal, but now because the ratio from the ratio of gold and silver, or silver to gold, it's 1 to 10. So this is the reason why gold is, it's just the cost. It's gold prices today. They're very high. But in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, 87 grams of gold or 612 grams of silver would be the magic amount that triggers zakat. So as long as you have that much for an entire year, one lunar year lapses, so you're not using the solar calendar, you're using the lunar calendar. 1 year lapses, you're in possession of that amount, zakat is triggered. You have to give zakat. Now it's not a condition. Many people think it's a condition, but it's not a condition that 1 year has to lapse on every single dollar. I mean, how would you even calculate that anyway? It's impossible. But what's a requirement and what's a condition is that 1 lunar year has to lapse on the nisab. So the nisab being the gold nisab. So 87 grams of gold or its equivalent in cash has to pass on the nisab. Okay. So do I need to inform the person the money given to them is zakat? Short answer, no, you don't. So you could basically just take that money, just tell someone that it's a gift and that's it. Your zakat is fulfilled. It's not a requirement that, you have to inform the person, well, this is zakat money. Many people think it's a requirement. No, it's not a requirement. You don't need to tell anybody that the money I'm giving you is zakat. You can say that it's a gift, it's hiba. You can say that, it's just, I just feel like giving it to you. You don't have to mention and you don't have to specify that this is zakat money that I'm handing to you. So this is not a requirement. You can, if somebody's eligible to receive zakat, meaning that he falls under the categories that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned 8 categories. So if he falls under one of these categories, yes, he's eligible to receive zakat. You can give him, you can give that individual, zakat, and you don't need to inform that person that this is zakat money. You can just hand it to him just for the sake of handing it to him. You can even say that it's a gift, or you can use any language that would suggest that, it's just money that I'm handing to you. Okay. So, is there a limit on how much zakat should be given to one person? Yes, there is a limit. It's actually, if a person who's eligible to receive zakat, if a person who is obligated to give zakat gives him more than the nisab, so he gives him, instead of uh, $200-300 here and there, he gives him, $5,000, right? So now the problem with that is that now this person is eligible to give zakat after 1 year lapses. So you're essentially making that person sahib nisab. You're making that person the owner of $5,000. And if that money stays with him for a year, then he has to give zakat. Alternatively, if you want to give someone more money, right? Perhaps, you want to teach him how to, what is that famous saying? That, you give a fish to a man, and he's gonna, keep coming back to you. But if you give him a rod, if you give him, a fishing pole, then he can fish himself. So perhaps you want to give, that person who's eligible to receive zakat, you want to give him enough where he can open up a business or something along those lines. That would be okay, as long as he purchases the business, and or he purchases it on credit, and you give him that money as zakat, so he can fulfill that loan and he'll have a business. So it's better not to make that person sahib nisab. It's actually makruh. It's actually, there's a slight karaha. There's a slight karaha when you give someone that much money where he becomes sahib nisab, meaning that he's reached the quantum of nisab, and he's after a year he becomes eligible to give zakat. So yes, there is a limit. Is there a limit on how much zakat should be given to a person? Yes, it's recommended that you don't